Alright, who's ready to finish this game? Now then. Are you ready, Missile? Honestly, we're a lot more capable when someone is dead. We cannot reach... There's a core over here, which is very interesting now. I don't think we can reach anything else. We can't switch to missile. Alright. Oh, yeah, sorry. Sink at the bottom of the ocean, but... I mean, he's not on it anymore. And the people who are on it are people he wants dead, so... I mean, why would he do that? It all adds up. Oh, hi. Why are you still taking the, like, spiritual form of garbage? Trash is my spirit animal. Finally, a name. Well, another name to stick to this appearance, because again, something that still doesn't quite add up is that we were shown this guy's appearance with the name Sissel long ago. That's how we started associating the name Sissel with what we thought was ourselves. So some things still aren't quite going to make sense until the end, I don't think. Yeah, see? No, well, never mind. I forgot that was explained immediately. I mean, I just... Okay. And we just talked, but... Alright, Yomi, tell us. Uh-huh. That sounds like an utterly horrible thing to get stuck on. A big overhaul project. This is well outside your area of expertise, Miss Allie, yes. Fun backstory, hey? Well, the dying part was never figured out, was it? That was kind of part of the problem. It's kind of funny because I guess the idea in the end was just to make sure there was no possible conceivable way that Yomiel could turn on them, use his abilities against them, whatever. But in the end, he had no actual intention of doing so. If they had cooperated, it would have just gone fine. It's like it would have cost them much of anything to give him what he wanted, as far as it sounds like. Although he said it would have taken a lot of resources, so I'm somehow wrong on that, but I'm not quite clear on why that would be. I love that. Of course, henceforth, the guy is saying, hey, they're going to demolish this place, and so on. So not sure what in the world we think he could do, but... But in any case, there's no other place to go, there's no way out of here. We're just stuck deep in the sea otherwise, without any way of ever getting out, so... Some of you are lucky enough to be able to die here. Well, I guess the others here also just disappear after time. Given the whole Sissel's whole in the morning thing. Where are we headed? Technological weirdos, the lot of them. Indeed he does, and to his credit, it's worked out pretty darn well so far. And as far as we've seen so far, despite all of Sissel's intervention, he got away with exactly what he wanted. Everyone who ever knew about Temsik is dead. They got the meteorite. Everything. As far as these things go, like, one of the more competent villains I've seen anywhere. insofar as, like, just despite the opposition having fantastical powers and everything, this guy just through sheer covering all his bases and planning manages to get everything. Pretty clean win. You ready for that possibility? Because there's really not a lot to do here. Also, I still can't switch to missile. I wasn't trying to do that, I was trying to go back to the other spot, not that it matters. So, yeah, no more Temsite fragments, so... that we've got a corpse here. Now he's just a regular old dead guy. And freshly dead, too. Alright, I kind of promised that we'd have this all in one episode, even though this would be a good time to cut things off. Forget it, we'll keep going. Absolutely from this point onwards, though, it's all one lump sum. We're not gonna cut anything off at this point. So at this point it's guaranteed the entire rest of this game is gonna be one episode. I have no intention of cutting up anything between this part and the actual end of the game. Final chapter on screen. Although, the kind of weird thing is usually we show up wherever the corpse was when we possessed it, or went into its core, whatever. Which I think following those rules would just leave us in the middle of the ocean. As you can probably imagine, we're going to ignore that rule. About time we saw this with our own eyes as well. Back 10 years ago. Look how young she is only 10 years ago. How old could she possibly be at present day? I feel like she must be like 20 something. Like early 20s. Like 21. At most. I'm surprised that Yumiel didn't take the moment he was distracted and shoot him, unless Yumiel just really didn't want to, despite the threat, which, I mean, he is just a dude having a really bad day. Now made substantially worse by the fact that, you know, that happened. That shot is gonna hit the ground pretty hard. I appreciate Yomail's habit of dying in the exact same position as well. Of course, now I got the real meaning of this line. Because it wasn't actually Joe that shot the guy. It's a little bit more than a butterfly effect at this point. It's just significantly changed the trajectory of all these people's lives 10 years ago. Oh, yeah, there's that too, I guess. I mean, that's no surprise to hear from him at this point. Okay. Yes, she has a sweet potato cooking, apparently. I'm more curious how she learned to just roast a sweet potato on her own at the park, but... that sounds a lot harder. The fragment has a lot more momentum than I think the child does. No, I can't do anything. Where in the world are you, dog? When do you get over here? Okay, so I got our headphones. Sweet potato. It's pretty much roasted. It's already ready. Okay, so you can play around over here. Cannot reach up there. Okay, so not much of anything that... yeah, we could talk just to see. Might give a hint or something. She's about to eat some sweet potato. That's the best state a child could be in. Okay, so what we're probably at least is interested in is how... oh, well, I think we just sit and wait at this point. Okay, now at the very least Sissel can get over here. So we can look at the sweet potato. The sweet potato. I actually hate sweet potatoes personally, but... anyhow, we can turn these things up. I don't know if that sounds like a sensible thing to do, but... okay. As if, I don't think startling her is the concern at this point. She is being held hostage at gunpoint. She wasn't going to eat a potato anyways. Oh, we're saying that's a checkpoint? Okay, cool. So I didn't really do anything. I did one thing. Now, can I reach there? No. I don't think I can do anything with the headphones right now anyway, so whatever. So I can still look at the sweet potato. Does it have any description? No. Poor Sissel, the lone not sweet potato enjoyer here. I can rock this thing around, I can spray this. Yeah, it just sprays into the fountain. You move around. It did a lot less than I thought it would do. Okay, well. Not entirely sure what I did with the wrong timing there. Not sure if he was referring to the... let me try not spraying it for a second. Maybe. Do I think the sweet potato? Oh no, there we go. It was just the timing on that very particular detail. Oh, you mean... I'm forgetting this guy's name. Mino. Oh boy. Is Mino gonna go on another rampage? Well, I have to get over there first. Ah, shoot. I think I know... Darn it. Hold on. I think I had to go into the sweet potato. Okay. Move this thing around. And go into the sweet potato. Trial and error. Okay, can you reach the... Here, I'm just so I can still reach the potato. Alright. Now let's spray harder. Okay, so I can swap these. I can also reach... I could swap those with the... I can't see how it would be helpful to... Interesting, so I could swap any of these things. Although I can't remember, if I swap things, do I actually... Does my location change? I can't remember, so I swapped these. I'm still where I was before. Okay. That's where I can move around a little bit. So I can only swap one thing with where this sweet potato currently is. I was wondering if I might want to swap the Mino with one of the whites. Oh wait, I'm in a different spot now. Oh, because Mino's bigger. I see. So now, this poor lamppost is fighting for its life. But you might remember that a certain lamp was also a victim of Tempsic, so... So what do we want to do now? I think Sissel's basically stuck where he is right now. I think we'll just wait here at this point. You'd think someone would notice this, but... Mino has feelings too. Alright, so Mino's not going to get hit by the meteorite anymore. As for the other cause of death, We're gonna have to figure that out as we get to it. That whole thing in his leg now somehow? Oh, through. Okay, I didn't see it coming out the other side. Now's the when we get to it. So you may remember how I mentioned that in later releases of this game, you don't have the top screen that shows silhouettes of things, or just shapes of... Well, it shows a close-up of the thing you're currently inside of. Because of this, this particular part was seen as a lot harder by a lot of people, or otherwise just didn't make sense to a lot of people who only ever played the later release. I don't think it was the frame that made him pull the trigger, but okay. Same shape as the bullet. I mean, it's not like you have that many options to begin with, but... Headphones? No. But... So, you can't see the shape of the sweet potato, you know, and you see Lynn holding it. But in particular, you can't see the shape of the bullet in other releases of the game because the top screen's not there. If you think that it's a bullet that still has the casing on it, as bullets in fiction usually are, you won't realize that these have the same semicircular shape. Having said that, we're on the DS version where that's not a problem. Boom. Ow. Okay, I was laughing for a second, now I'm not laughing anymore. Is that better than being shot? Well, now instead of getting shot to death, he's just gone shot by a sweet potato and impaled to death. How? I mean, you've surely punctured some organ or another. Oh, you're just immediately knocked unconscious. I guess the sweet potato knocked him out. Oh boy, time for higher stakes. I mean, truth be told, would she really remember much of being crushed from above? We do have 3 people here, by the way, who are dead. Well, I mean 4, but with the powers, I mean. Well, I haven't forgotten, but you apparently had. You haven't done a darn thing this whole time. I'll try. It's not like this guy is very good at moving anywhere. I wonder what Yomiel's range is like. Interesting, it actually has the text up while you can press the button. I think that's the only time I've seen the game do that. You can swap things. But won't just fall again after that? Now this dog and his amazing range. No, poor girl just has broken glass falling on her now. Mino's the real villain of this story. Mino and their lust for blood. Yammed, stabbed, and crushed by Mino. Pretty grisly. I don't think it's just a scrape if you literally can't use his leg. We said it went through his leg, didn't we? Imagine it's probably bleeding a decent amount in that case. Well, or us. There remains the question, what about the cat? And there's the cat's story. Sort of like get why you couldn't have told me once we first met what our whole deal was. But I guess Yomiel thought that Sissel was a lot closer to figuring out that he actually was once he realized that Sissel knew his name. That's my only guess. Otherwise, it's one of those cases where, why does this character not tell this other character this important thing? Which happens a lot in stories. Did you have to find people who were in such a tense situation to try to get the attention of? I find this one particularly interesting. Yeah, this is a bit more than a guy had a cat. This was like a guy's soul was housed by the cat for a while. They shared a body in some sense for some amount of time. And just to be a little meaner to Yomiel. Yeah, goddamn. A little bit more of an explanation for Yomiel's perspective, too, then, after dying. Yes. So Sissa was also her name. Which also means that he took on his fiance's name as an alias at one point, which is interesting. Yeah, this one kind of comes... This is one of those things that just kind of reveal at some point without much... I mean, Yomiel did mention earlier, I think that powers can change over time, but... Not that long ago. I think it was when you were in the room with Lynn and company, Camelot, when we had just escaped the flooding room on the sub. I think Yomiel mentioned that, but still. Oh hey, also... people's powers can change, so never mind that whole rule about people having fixed powers that basically rule the narrative until now. That's a little bit more of a, piece of information that's just completely hidden from you in a mystery story for so long. Or like a case where the rules aren't clear to you and that's how the mystery story works. The game usually averts that, which is good. It's not usually that blazing when stories do that sort of thing, but oh well. Not that I'm the finest connoisseur of mystery sorts of narratives, since I just haven't consumed that many, so I'm also probably easily impressed and not particularly bothered at the same time by other things of that nature. After a while, I can manipulate people. Well, that in your own body, right? I mean, it seemed like you could manipulate your own body from nearly the beginning, at least once you got your memories back after a little bit, so like a few days or something, at most, of being with Sissel. And now the one last thing to explain everything that happened with Lin and Yomiya. And the cat gets out of the bag and so on. Of course, that doesn't quite add up. Sissel was in Youngle's body at this point. Just so the world could be a little crueler to Yomiya yet again. And that is the moment that Sissel died. Yep, and that is why Sissel has powers, having died right next to Yomiya. Yep, you woke up in the wrong corpse. But right off the trail from the beginning. It's a mystery story after all. Yomiya still kind of just left you there, but I mean, granted you were dead, but I mean, granted, what could you have Yomiya done at that point? Although, I don't remember, how did Sissel end up in Yomiya's corpse to start with? I mean, sure, Sissel died right there, right next to Yomiya, but did Yomiya actually somehow, like, when he moved into Sissel's body, did Yomiya somehow take Sissel's spirit, whatever, and put it back in his own body? Or what? I don't think that part gets explained. And a bird it was. Were you confused? I mean, he was helping undo it at the end there. It's like it's a big surprise that he's kind of changed his mind at this point. Yeah, that's kind of scary. So what, we just skip forward to 10 years after... So the world's just been doing it for 10 years now when we go back to it. Do we get our memories of those 10 years, like, merged with our memories from prior, the other timeline, or what? Really, it's just stuff we've already done on a bigger scale, but... Oh yeah, I keep forgetting people can hear my thoughts in here. We'll remember, but... I don't know if I'll align to each other. It's an overstatement, I feel like. Don't be like Job. You were literally trying to not do it. Okay, Yomiel, yeah, I'll probably never see each other again. This random dog? Yeah, I'm certain. I find that contrast kind of weird, but... I mean, honestly, the two of them... I feel like there are connections between... So if Sissel is now taken in by Cho, there are, like, connections to Yomiel and to eventually Misael, right? Because Lyn joins the Force, and she lives with Camelin, has Misael's a dog and all that stuff, so... That's a connection, at least by one degree of separation, to Misael, so that's possible. But also, he's even closer to Yomiel. Yomiel's a co-worker of Jode's. I mean, not exactly the same line of work, but at least working in the same place, and they will both remember everything that went on, so it's quite possible they'll maintain a relationship after this, too. Yeah, so... I don't think there's really anything preventing Sizzle from seeing Yomiel again. Yeah, home's a weird word to use here. Now, if there is one thing burning in your mind like there was in mine at this point, don't worry. Because there is still one more question to be answered. But who was Lamp? I feel like you kind of owe us something in return at this point. No point in hiding, unless you're going to cease to exist. Here we go. One thing I couldn't quite remember. Oh, there is a reason why. It takes me a second to remember every time. Why this time Yomiel's here. Was it because if we didn't get involved... What was it? Why is Yomiel here? I thought the reason... Yomiel took some time to get his body back because... The way that Yomiel was supposed to get his body back was that phony mortician or whatever he was that showed up at the crime scene. I was supposed to get the body. But Cabanela realized that he was a phony and got in his way. I don't think we had anything to do with that, did we? If we weren't present, Cabanela still would have done that, right? So I'm not clear on why Yomiel was here this time. I think I'm forgetting something. Yes, this time Camel was actually killed, too. Because one of them was next to Yomiel when he died. Because Yomiel was here this time. Yeah, I just can't explain it. I forgot that the game actually took a second to explain right after, but... Like I was saying, Yomiel's here, so... I guess Missile was closer to Yomiel than Camilla was, if Camilla didn't really get any powers. And you just walk into an apartment with a gun and fire shots at people? That's not very... It's pretty high profile, isn't it? You think like a lot of people would notice? Wasn't there that other woman just living right in the next room? Who would probably hear a gunshot through a door? If she can hear a dog barking? Yeah, also... Yeah, so there's what we did to get all the way here to Yomiel's body. Somehow, in this timeline, Missile manages to do that without the things that we can do, like traveling in phone lines and whatnot. Missile, on their lonesome, manages to get all the way over here. Jeez. And of course, Jode is not here this time because there wasn't the back and forth help between Missile and the others. Yeah, and this is when they go, oh yeah, this was actually a minority of the story, temporally. You think it was a lot to go through in one night. This guy waited 10 years. Hey, was Missile even alive back when that happened 10 years ago? I don't get the impression Missile's 10 years old. That's pretty old for a dog. Yep. Lampless dog. It's all the dogs and cats in this story that really make everything happen. How do you grow old when you're dead? Again, things change. It's kind of the cop-out. And I feel like it was already kind of... I don't know if it was explicitly stated, but pretty much already indicated that Missile couldn't go through phone lines. Missile never does it with you, and Missile does get carried up. Missile moves through large distances either with you or off-screen by like being blown away in a feather. Not feather, a leaf and stuff like that. And just Missile being able to do that never comes up. And plus, they keep saying all these other powers are like specific to people, and well, Missile's not us. Oh yeah, that was a big part of the game. This is the part I never remember very clearly. How did Missile do this in only like 8 hours at most? In that one night? Missile really got around for not being able to move around much. And of course, Missile is aided substantially by having a way longer range than Sizzle does. Imagine, if you will. I don't know why Sizzle was dancing around in there. Yeah, I don't think anything would change on resisting the possession. Yeah, in case you were wondering about why it was possible for Missile to wait 10 years. Yeah. That's a little mean. I feel like Missile could have just as well said what he just said. Fewer details, maybe. But he could have in earnest said, if you do not figure this stuff out by morning, you will never be able to figure it out. Because there was still authentically a time limit on what Sissel wanted to do. It just wasn't capped off with him ceasing to exist. Outsmarting. There's a lot of outsmarting in this game. Again, I want to reiterate that Lord Sith, or whatever his actual name and title were, did manage to fully outsmart everyone, including with all the ghost powers they had and whatnot. If not for Missile pulling this 10-year gambit. Without that, even with Missile's whole gambit up until Sissel got into that little room jettisoned off through the underwater missile. What do we call those things? Whatever we call those. I'm forgetting the word at the moment for some reason. For the torpedo. Still, in that timeline, he still got away with everything. If not for that one last going back in time 10 years thing, would have pulled off everything without a hitch. Really? I mean, you would think that this missile would kind of merge with the existing present missile. That's what seems to happen to every other person. Well, when does the merging happen? Does the merging happen like from the point in time of fate being changed onwards, or is it like the present time, quote unquote, onwards, which would be 10 years into the future? So there's a point like 10 years onwards, or suddenly everyone remembers all this crazy stuff that happened. Or do they actually remember those 10 years from 10 years prior onwards, in which case they have to repeat basically 10 years of their lives? With, granted, very different circumstances, but still. Yeah, so also, if you're wondering why Missile, as silly of a character as he may be, turns out to be such an important character, if I remember correctly, Missile is actually based on an actual Pomeranian of the lead writer of this story. There's quite a lot of attachment there. There are also other little things like Missile does have a theme song that was released at 1.2. You can find it. I think it's exclusively in Japanese, but you can find translations. It's a silly little song. Now for real. No more things left to explain. Anything at this point that is unexplained shall remain so forever. In particular because no other games were ever made. Some are of the opinion that this story seems like it was kind of setting up for a sequel. I'm not sure if I really agree that it felt that way. But, well, the game didn't do particularly well commercially. Something about, I don't know, the concept didn't appeal to people or what. You would think that it being from the same people who made the very successful Ace Attorney games would count for something, but apparently not. I remember, I think GameSpot once made a list that it titled Best Games That Nobody Ever Played, and this was number 1, if I remember correctly. It's kind of odd how that happened, but hey, that's my favorite kind of game to give attention to. The ones where, the kinds where virtually nobody knows about the thing or ever looked at the thing, but those that have love the thing. This game's a lesser case of that. You can still find, like, high-profile playthroughs of this game online and so on, but... On the other hand, I believe Camilla and Lynn have no recollection of everything, which feels kind of weird. Lynn having just gone through so much in the story and then losing all of it by the end is a bit strange by comparison. Not that she particularly went through a lot of character development or anything, so I guess in a certain sense not much was lost, but... yeah, no one died or anything. Can you imagine that? Oh, actually, I did forget one thing. There is still one thing. Well, it's not a question that hasn't... well, yeah. There is one question that remains to be answered. It's a very small one, but we'll get the answer in just a second. And this is kind of the detail that made some people think, hey, this might actually lend itself well to getting a sequel. Oh, it's the badge. Not to my grave this time, maybe. Mm-hmm. Indeed, the same little kitten. He was probably at least a year old by the time the 10 years ago thing happened. Oh yeah, I guess, I don't think the game explains, but my guess is that Jode, of course, remembers everything with Sissel and decide, okay, we'll just keep calling you Sissel. You get the little hint of Lynn remembering, but I don't think she actually does. Oh boy, chicken. Hey, you're allowed to have screen time. Somehow. But in case you haven't picked it up already. Yep. Why was the cat unconscious? Because Temsik didn't go into Yomiel, it went into someone else. But this means that Sissel continues having the death powers the same way that Yomiel did. So, yeah, so that's kind of what is not perhaps not precisely a sequel hook, but something that would lend itself well. Missile. Freddy did the pirouette. Doesn't stick the landing though. But, yeah, so despite this game's conflict being resolved, Sissel does not loses his death powers. So that could have been used to keep making more stuff. I don't think it was, in my mind, it's not so much they were planning to make a sequel and left that in to do it. I think it's more just, maybe they were thinking to themselves, okay, let's keep this premise open in case we ever do want to continue it. Of course, they certainly didn't, since, well, the game didn't particularly perform. On the other hand, it did eventually get remakes, although I don't think these days that getting remakes, re-releases, or whatever is really that much of a distinguishing feature, considering how common of a thing that is. Anyways, I'd still suggest playing on the DS on the whole between, well, for one, I just don't mind the lower resolution and stuff like that. But on the other hand, I forgot, imitating Kavanaugh. But what was I saying? The big thing that just bugs me about the later releases is the whole not being able to see the shapes of things on the top screen issue, which just messes up a couple of puzzles, some important ones. Anyhow, what a fun adventure that was. I do actually know what stuff I'm going to play after this now. In fact, I have a kind of a list of things to play now. Well, one of those things I'm still kind of unsure about. The other thing I'm also still kind of unsure about, but more so I'm going to do it anyways. Also, the guy's still got his shoes off. Again, I still like how it's just a little quirk of his that no one ever actually mentions. Compared to how much more overt all the other quirks of characters tend to be, I like how this one's just a little one that's never actually acknowledged, nor is attention ever explicitly brought to it. But yes, also I have a few little things I want to play before I do anything else. I saw that shiny thing. You should put down the bug. But yes, so little things. I will play little things. At least spend the next week, maybe more doing that. Depends on how long it lasts me. Probably more than 1 week. We'll see. Yeah. Anyhow, also I'm gonna finish up Drawn to Life next chapter on the Wii pretty soon, I think, which means I'll have more things to go play. Anyways. And plus, there are some things I'm just not playing much. Some things I just don't usually think of when I think of things I could play next, because they're really long. But I'm probably due to play another long thing again in series that I'm trying to get through, but have really long entries that I put lots of space between. I have at least 2 series that are like that. That both have one more installment I need to play at some point. I just haven't because they'd probably take a long time. Anyhow, oh boy, whole hour 15-minute episode. This is usually how long an entire recording session is for me. You know, one thing I was wondering just last night, I don't remember why, I don't know what brought this to mind, but I guess the fact that the way I do these things, the way I make these videos, the whole Let's Play style these days, is a little antiquated. Which I'm mostly fine with. Like, most people these days just do streaming and so on. I think I was thinking about the fact that, yeah, most people do streams and then maybe upload recordings of those streams, but streams are also usually a few hours. So I'm usually watching a few hours at a time videos. Also, interrupting my train of thought for a second here. Also, I guess we're killing off those two. A lot of people found that kind of weird and disproportionate. Also, this guy has the money on him now. Fantastic. I doubt he gets to keep that, but hopefully no one got crushed under that chicken this time. Lots of people were kind of caught off guard by those two seeming to be killed in this cutscene. Granted, you never see the body, so as the case usually goes, I feel like if they made more games, those two probably would have shown up again anyways. But feels like kind of a weird retribution, at least for the littler guy, who was probably the most decent acting characters out of all the characters from the other country. Still, you know, kidnapping a child and whatnot, but also, like, at least having standards. It seems kind of weird to kill him off, specifically considering all the other characters that are fine. Also, all the assassins we killed are probably out just doing their thing now, too. As I was saying, yeah, so usually these days when I'm watching stuff, I'm watching recordings of streams that are themselves like maybe like an hour or a few hours long. Of course, not all at once, I just watch bits at a time. But I kind of section it off however I decide to. Whereas, meanwhile, I'm making 50-minute videos. It used to be I made longer ones too. I actually moved an off structure, so I started making shorter ones. That's a whole adventure why I started making shorter videos. It was because of some weird technical stuff. Some dumb things happened on YouTube. That there was a moderation error that led to me losing my ability to upload videos longer than 15 minutes very briefly. and I was thinking to myself, okay, well, I guess I'll have to just keep things to like 15 minutes now. The more I thought about it, even once I got the ability to upload longer videos again, I thought to myself, this actually might work well. So I just started doing that. I used to make 25-minute videos. I'd have 2 series. I'd only put up 1 video a day. I'd have 2 series, a Monday, Wednesday, Friday series, and a Tuesday, Thursday series. So I actually had one game that I played through more in a given week than the other. But I don't know, maybe I'll think about at some point going towards just uploading these long videos instead. Just doing things the same way I'm doing them now, hour 15 minutes every week for each game, but just not cutting them into episodes. And maybe I'll just upload one video, maybe Saturday and Sunday or something. I don't know, I may think about that. At the same time, for episode titles and whatnot, it's kind of hard to decide to get things. Oh, look at those dance! You can still hear the dance too. Why is he worried? Oh, I see. I think it'd just make it worse. I just love how the music accelerates as he does this. But, I lose my train of thought so easily. Yeah, but I'm just thinking I might do that. Oh, I was saying that getting episodes is kind of harder when you have so much stuff in one episode, though. I don't know. We'll see. And yeah, this is a nice, fun game. A little bit outside my usual stuff, but these days, it feels like everything I play is something unusual for myself. At least for this channel, so who knows at this point. I guess I spent so much time just playing so much exclusively licensed stuff that playing anything else just feels weird now or something. I don't know. I'd like to get opinions on the long versus short videos thing, but at this point, since we're some amount of time into the credits, I'd be kind of surprised if many people were even actually retained viewer-wise at this point. And then among those ones, how many of those would actually put an opinion in the comments. But hey, if you are one of the few people doing so, keep in mind, you have an exaggerated effect on the decisions I make if you're the only person commenting, giving your thoughts on whether I should make longer or shorter videos. Like I have the same smock. Yeah, so who's the guy getting out today? It's Yomiel now, because he's the one who did, well, punishable things. I don't know why he was in this prison particularly. I'm not sure about that part. On the other hand, somehow he survived all that crazy stuff happening to him. Jeez. So these days, if you see a reference to this game, something just, if you see a single image to sum up this game, usually what you see is an image that you'll see in a second here. Which I think is a very nice one. It's one of those things, too. It's one of those things where if you get it, you get it, if you've gone through the game already. If you don't get it, well, this picture's not going to spoil much of anything for you, other than maybe acknowledging that maybe there's some importance to the cat. You oftentimes see this game represented among people who liked it a lot by the cat on the crane. Yeah, so I'll think. Especially if people actually give opinions on which format to use. I don't know which I'll do. I haven't really weighed the possibilities. I came up with this literally last night, but it might be kind of nice. I don't know. Of course, at the same time, I said next week I'm probably going to start playing a couple of really short things, in which case those will be small short videos anyways, but we'll see. Also, forceful saving. I wonder what happens if you load a save game in this game? Load a completed save game? Let's see. I think it's just because you get the chapter select now. I see. Also, so it starts you over, but you have a chapter select. Yeah. I forgot you got the chapter select, actually. Jeez, all the way up to 5 a.m. So how long is this game? Up to 5 a.m. starting at, what was it, 7 p.m.? Jeez. 10 hours. One last look. Me, the mystery. What? Oh, I see. I never quite picked up on that, actually. So this is actually as the... You see how much these things get developed and updated. Yeah, so I didn't realize that you now could see all the versions of these. That is weird. Yeah, so you get every version of every description of every character, which I never really read. Yeah, some of these just never really get much in the way of updates. I don't think there's much need for me to look through these. But I didn't realize that you got to do that. That's interesting. The other me. The very evil looking me. You know me a little. Also, I like to look in the phone book for some reason. I forgot the Space Place actually had descriptions. Okay, anyhow. That's that. So I'll see you next time in another adventure. Well, a couple very small ones after this, but then after those, I have a couple very different adventures, as is oftentimes the case here. What's the unifying factor in the things I play anymore? Who knows? Well, I did offer one earlier this episode, I guess. I tend to like underappreciated things, but that's a fairly vague description, isn't it? Works for me. Anyways. Oh no. Clicked on things I didn't mean to click on. On to the next one. Thanks for joining me.